Day 1, Sunday. Chapter 1. Wile E. Coyote chased the roadrunner around my steaming coffee mug. My bare feet were up on the large flower pot on the edge of my deck, and I wiggled and stretched my toes. The red polish needed a change. 3 stars had been rebelliously tattooed near my left little toe when I was 17. Shit, that was so long ago. In the pot was a tree. I don't remember what kind. That I trimmed occasionally and tried the best I could to take care of it. That explained the 2 bare branches and how it was bent over like a hunchback and dwarfed like a malnourished child. I breathed in the crisp air. The deck was all open, with a few pillars and a roof, but no walls or windows. Garth sang about his friends in low places from my phone on the arm of the soft chair I had liberated from a yard sale for $5. Calm. There were not going to be many more mornings I could do this before winter came. Coffee. There had barely been enough milk in the carton, the stability of which was questionable anyway, to change the murky sludge, so I added extra sugar. It made me long for what passed as coffee at police headquarters. I thought about adding something special, but I was on call. This was how a mature woman spent her Sunday morning. How did a mature woman spend her Saturday night? This one spent it soaking in a scalding hot bubble bath, eating chicken wings and smoking a J. I'm a free-willed woman. Single. No kids. Secure in myself enough to know that nothing could beat chicken in a tub. Wicked. I enjoyed Sundays in my neighborhood. It was quiet. Calm. All except for the street watchdog. "Mornin', Farron." Interrupted. Cheryl, the neighbor from across the street, took a few steps onto my front lawn. Her little excuse for a dog went to the end of his leash before squatting to piss on my grass. At the other end of the leash, the morning sun flashed off Cheryl's rings. She wore at least one on every finger. Silver, gold, diamonds. Did she just wear them all because she liked them, or was she overcompensating for a husband that bought her gilt jewelry? Denial. Cheryl's teenage son, Wendell, mowed my lawn and needed to make a visit. "Are you enjoying this surprise weather?" Was that a comment about my denim shorts and tank top while she wore an open winter coat? "Strange for Saskatchewan, eh?" It had been strangely warm for late autumn. "Did you hear the loud music last night? Somebody drove down the street with their music just blaring. They were having a party or something?" Chow Chow hid under the end table. Teehee. The only thing I really got from that was, who names a dog Chow Chow? No, I was in most of the night watching a movie. My TV was loud. People didn't need to know what my life was like. I did hear the music, but I was naked in my tub with a plate of wings and getting high, damn it. Let the city police handle it. If I did get dressed and go deal with it, I probably would have said fuck to being the good cop and asked them for a drink or a joint. The joys of being single. Do what I want, fuck who I want, eat what I want, when I want, where I want, smoke what I want. No need to worry about someone else's thoughts or what the white mutt was doing under the table. A nice Canadian lady leaning toward 40 was not supposed to be that way. But who the hell ever said I was nice? Or a lady? My nose twitched. I felt that familiar feeling. Here it came. Oh, sweet release. Bless you. And it was gone. Son of a bitch. I didn't see your lights on last night. The neighborhood watch was trying to catch me in my immoral lie. Nope, was all I said. Garth stopped singing as my phone started ringing. I saw the number. Chaos. Chapter 2. The call I got said suicide by shotgun. Yuck. I hated investigating suicides. You never really knew what you were going to get when you pulled up. This one happened sometime overnight in a field. So did the coyotes get to the body? How gross was it going to be? Then you had the often unanswerable questions. Would there really be answers to the why? Was there a reason for it all? Would anyone accept the reason? They always tended to be messy, both literally and actually. There were too many suicides these days. As a member of Major Crimes, we went wherever we were needed in the province, depending on the crime and area. Homicides, sexual assaults, robberies, attempted murders, threats, and suspicious deaths. We got the gritty shit, the stuff worthy of TV dramas. They are the members of the Major Crimes Unit and these are their stories. Kind of shit. Dun dun. Growing up, I always thought the one place I never wanted to live was the province of Saskatchewan. It was a rectangle, trapezoid as Wendell pointed out once, with boring flat fields forever. Did you hear the one about the black dog that ran away in Saskatchewan winter? We watched it for hours. Okay, a lot of the province was flat prairie, but in the south there was an area of sand dunes and a whole lot of thick forested area and lakes to the north. The central area changed to rolling hills. The crime scene was over an hour northeast of the city of Saskatoon through those rolling hills and fields. I pulled my assigned Nissan Pathfinder SUV off to the side of a dirt road 3 cars behind the mobile command post. The converted recreational camper was painted dark blue with all the Royal Canadian Mounted Police insignias. It kind of stuck out, along with the other police vehicles, on a grid road in the middle of harvested fields. The SUV, which was parked in front of the MCP, belonged to the IDENT, or Identification Unit. They were the crime scene techs who went over every single millimeter of the scene, collecting possible evidence as they went. They had to deal with the physical mess, while I was going to have to deal with the personal one. Achoo! Oh, fuck, yeah. Been waiting for that. Where's the body? This area was classic central Saskatchewan. It was more flat than rolling. Harvested fields of tanned, almost gray stalks. There were spots of trees here and there and water holes called sloughs. They were dips in the earth where water collected after spring thaw and never seemed to go away. They were essential for wildlife, but hellish for farmers taking away some of the land which used to grow. Constable Charles Delaney of Major Crimes looked up from where he was kneeling. In front of him was a black case he had just opened. What? No pleasantries? No good morning, Chuck? How are you doing? Nice weather. What are your thoughts on the football game? A little growl escaped my throat. I folded my hands behind my back and bent down to his level. Yes, I was fully aware that the asshat was getting a view of my cleavage. What little I had was helped with one of Victoria's secrets. Top of the morning to you, Charlie, my bestest friend. Okay, my fake Irish accent sucked. How are you doing on this fine autumn day? His eyes rolled as I stood back up. I get it, Farron. You're an ass. Like you should talk. I tied my mahogany hair back. Normally it fell to the top of my chest. What the hell is that on your lip? He had to touch it as if he forgot. It's Movember. Mustache plus November. You know what that is, right? You look like you need to wash your face. Every November, men across Canada grew facial hair to raise prostate cancer awareness. For most, it meant a month-long display of porn stashes. Where's Brandy? He twitched his head to the side. Follow the Yellow Flag Road. He continued taking out the DJI Phantom 4 Pro drone, his baby. The 4-propeller-driven drone would give us a bird's-eye view of the scene and area. We really need that for a suicide? This time, Charlie didn't even look up at me. We haven't found the victim's car yet, and it's a large search area. It's a wide-open space with no other way to look except driving around. He glanced in my direction. Seriously? Is that what you wear to a crime scene? I dressed quickly after the musical interruption, but didn't think it that bad for a plain-clothed officer. What the fuck's wrong with it? I thought every guy liked a woman in leggings. Not one with thunder thighs. What? Suck my dick. Corporal Steele? Sergeant John Bisson's booming voice always made me catch my breath when he called my name.
In here.
The tall man with broad shoulders, graying hair, and a year-round mustache was up the back ramp to the command post. I stepped up nodding to Eric Saunders sitting in front of a computer.
Constable Saunders is going to be file coordinator for this while you are head investigator. You're next up. I'll be team commander for this.
Bisson was the commander of the Major Crimes Unit, Saskatoon Division. I felt the need to straighten my clothes out. Maybe Delaney was right.
Let's get this finished quickly.
We used a triangle three-point system to investigate major crimes. The team commander, Bisson, was the top point. He would keep us on track, communicate with the higher-ups, other departments, and media. He controlled the flow of the investigation. As the FC, Saunders was another point on the triangle. He would collect all the information coming in from witness statements, to the drone photographs, to interviews and everything big and small dealing with the case. At the end, if need be, he would put it all into a neat little package for the lawyers, when and if a case ever went to court. I would make up the third point of the triangle. I was going to be doing the gumshoe work. This was what I got into policing for. A suicide shouldn't take long. I stepped into a white plastic suit and pulled it up over my body, tucking my hair inside the hood.
Constable Fay has suspicions. Go talk to her.
Ident had a path marked with metal stakes and yellow flags. As they searched the earth this morning for footprints, garbage, particles, anything that could have been left by anyone, they marked the path so they could safely move back and forth without tainting the scene. Once I had the bunny suit on, including slippers over my boots, I set down their path. The field had been wheat, which had been cut and harvested some time over the last month. Wheat used to be the primary crop in Saskatchewan, but lentils, chickpeas, dried peas, and even mustard had become very important for the province. What remained in the field were short, stiff, cut-off stems of faded gold. The ground underneath was sticky mud threatening to pull the booties off. The field rolled over gentle hills. Halfway to where Ident had their large light set up, I walked past a dried slough with white cracked earth in it. This one was the size of an average pond. Off to the north was what was called Pelican Lake. I wasn't sure if it was a true lake or an oversized slough that never dried. It sounded like there were hundreds of geese around the lake squawking at each other as they prepared to fly south. The sound of autumn. Death. I was breathing heavier by the time I came upon the body. The two Ident officers were on either side of it. Female, Caucasian. Her knees and lower legs were sticking out below the hem of a brown dress. Dried mud had been packed on her knees. Healthy body. I guessed she was about my height of 5'4". Maybe slightly smaller. A few extra pounds, though nothing to be upset about. Brunette? Her hair was so covered in her own blood that it was hard to definitively tell. Gunshot wound to the face. To me, it looked like she had the barrel in her mouth, or really close to her cheek, and when she pulled the trigger, it shot up and to the left, taking half of her face. There was blood and flesh and bone and brain that blasted out from the left side of her head, basically obliterating her physical identity. I couldn't even see where that eyeball was. The right side was against the ground. This wasn't the first time I saw something like this, and it wasn't even the worst. In the words of Patrick Swayze in the movie Roadhouse, it's amazing what you can get used to. My attention fell on the 12-gauge Remington on the ground several feet away from the woman. Her dress was chocolate brown, sleeveless with a halter neckline, the straps crossing over her chest and fell to her knees. Not really my thing. There were no shoes on her feet, which were also muddy. It had been warm for this time of year in Saskatchewan. However, it was still chilly, maybe 10 degrees above freezing during the peak of day, and below freezing at night. Either way, she was not dressed for it. Even I was feeling the chill out in the open. This woman was dressed for a night out, probably in a city which was a long ways away. The city of Prince Albert was 45 minutes away to the north and Saskatoon an hour in the other direction. Where did she come from? We haven't finished with the scene yet, or really started on the body other than a cursory once-over, so don't get any closer. Constable Brandy Fay was on her hands and knees studying the ground closely. Don't step in any brain goop. Any identification? No purse or wallet in the area, so nope. The last word made a pop noise. We'll take her fingerprints and DNA samples, but you know that will only help if she has a criminal record. Not making this easy for us, is she? Why kill yourself out in the middle of nowhere? Here's something for you. Randy stood and stretched her back. She was a bit shorter than myself. She had been an ident for years and very little fazed her. I had a suspicion, so I measured from her face to her fingers, 23 inches. End of gun barrel to trigger, 30 inches. I wrote this down in my notebook. So, she's 7 inches of shooting herself? That's a huge gap. Used a stick, maybe? Haven't found anything yet. Nothing within a 10-foot radius, anyway. It's not impossible, I guess. The fact of it was that most women committed suicide with drugs, cutting themselves, drowning, or hanging. They wanted things to be cleaner for those who were going to find them. Men were 3 times likelier to use a gun. This woman may not have committed suicide. I felt that suspicious tingling inside me. She also had multiple contusions on her, still there face, bruising on the neck and arms. Looks like defensive wounds on her hands. You don't get that from shooting yourself, so, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a homicide. 7? I gave Brandy a nod. She and her husband quizzed each other on movie trivia, and we took it up. She wasn't a professional. Why would you say that? Brandy asked. I shrugged. Just don't get that feeling. Never saw a hooker wear a dress like that. Not revealing enough. Was she sexually assaulted? I took a look. It's a mess down there, Farron. Bruising, contusions, blood. As far as I can tell, she was brutalized. The coroner will have to give you the details. He's been called, and I can say her panties, if she was wearing any, are not here. I don't often wear panties when I go out on a Saturday night. Brandy glanced at the other ident officer. You and I lead 2 different lives. Where did she come from? I turned in a complete circle and took in everything. Field to the north, field to the east, field to the south, field to the west. Sure, there was the lake and roads in every direction, but they were all between a half and a kilometer away. The closest thing to the body was the road where the police vehicles were parked, and even I found it a long hike in boots. There was a house, but that was a little farther across the field to the east. Still working on that. All we found on the ground are dirt bike tire tracks and 2 pairs of small sneaker prints. Probably from the boys that found the body. And don't even ask about time of death. I would be making a guess. The coroner will give that after he looks at the body. Brandy looked at her partner again, then turned back to me. What did you do last night? I had a bunch of rodeo clowns over and we played with my sex swing. I kept my gaze on the ground. There had to be something there. Brandy's voice dropped. You freak. That was because she knew I owned a sex swing. Chicken wings in the tub, eh? If the common person ever heard what cops talked about while standing over a dead body, we would be branded just as heartless as the killer.